Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Station is ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. How about us?
We hear you loud and clear. Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hi, my name is Dr. Deborah Taylor Long, and I am board chairwoman for the Gifford Youth Achievement Center, also known as GYAC. We are grateful for this extraordinary opportunity to speak with astronauts at the International Space Station. Now, here's our first question.
Hi, my name is Aiden Robinson. My question is, what type of food do you eat while in space?
Hey, that's a great question, and it's one of the unique things that we have to get used to while we're up here, because our food has to be packaged differently than it is on the ground. As a matter of fact, right here I have it's a container of pasta and turkey in here, so kind of like a spaghetti noodle type of thing. And so you can see it is, Jessica's going to bring it up to the camera, but it is hard. It's had all the water moved out of it. And so if she knocks on it, it's hard like a brick. And then what we have to do is we go up to a special machine that injects water into the straw end of it. And then we mix it up and we let it sit for a few minutes, and then it's just like eating it back home. But all of our food has to be contained in little bags like this. Otherwise, it starts floating away and it's hard to control. So no plates for us up here. Just eating out of bags, and really the only utensil we use is a spoon. So we carry around a spoon and then bags of food.
Hi, my name is Chancellor Bracelet. My question is, can you hear any sounds in space?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and certainly when we're up here on the International Space Station, we hear lots of sounds. It's actually quite noisy on the ISS with all of the different machines running, all of the science experiments that are going on. It all kind of creates a pretty loud background noise that we kind of hear all the time, but we can kind of tune that out so that we can hear the other sound that we hear a lot of, which is the ground. So we have speakers in each one of the modules on the ISS, and that is how we talk to the ground teams that help tell us what to do and where to find the things we're looking for. So we're super grateful for the huge team of people that help keep ISS operating.
Hi, my name is Christian Gashland, and my question is, how do you sleep in the space station?
Sleeping in the space station took a lot of getting used to, at least for me. So we have sleeping bags. They're blue sleeping bags, and we have a small little crew quarters that's like a little closet, like you can see on the screen here. And the sleeping bag has little armholes in it, and we can tuck ourselves in there. And some of us like to free float inside our crew quarters, and others strap it to the wall so that we're kind of secured in one spot there. But it's pretty cozy, keeps you pretty warm, and after a couple weeks of getting used to it, you can sleep really, really well.
Hi, my name is Adriana Cortez. My question is, how do plants grow in space?
Well, that's a great question, and it is something that we're spending a lot of our time and energy on right now. Once, as NASA starts to pivot towards going to the moon and eventually to Mars, plants and growing plants is going to be a big part of that capability to provide not only food, but be part of the life support system, producing oxygen. We are doing an experiment right now, just behind the camera, called X-Roots, which is experimenting on different ways to provide water to plants. As you know, there's no gravity in space, and so you can't just pour water on the plants. And we've learned that plants don't necessarily need gravity to know which way to grow, but they do grow their roots towards the water water supply. And last year we grew some chili peppers, which apparently were really, really hot. We've had some of our colleagues that got to taste test those things. Jessica and I and the rest of our crew have gotten to grow some lettuce and some radishes over the last few days. And it's really exciting to see those things. We got other living organisms up here, so it's really fun to be able to take care of those and watch those things grow and practice getting our green thumb.
Hi, my name is Caleb Baker. My question is, what equipment do you use to breathe in space?
So inside the International Space Station, we have an environment where we have just the right amount of oxygen and nitrogen for us to breathe. So inside the ISS, we have a very Earth-like environment. Of course, outside the ISS, out in space, it's a very different story. And so when we go out on our spacewalks or our extravehicular activities, we have our spacesuits that we wear, the big white puffy suits, and the backpack on the back of those suits contains the life support system for us, which basically means it contains the oxygen that we have to breathe, as well as the mechanism for scrubbing out the CO2 that we breathe to enable us to have the right amount of environment and air to breathe while we're out on the spacewalk. So there's enough in there for us to be outside for around 7 hours or so to get a lot of work done while we're out there.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Harris. My question is, how do you drink water in space?
That is a great question, and it's one of the things that we can have the most fun with up here, because water behaves very differently in space. Instead of going to the bottom of a container, it'll just float inside the container. And so a typical water bottle doesn't work quite as well up here, because it's hard to get the air away from the part that you want to drink water out of. You can spin it and it'll separate, and so the water tends to go to both sides of it. But water bottles are kind of difficult. So what we have mostly up here are drink pouches, and so we get a whole bunch of these. Sometimes they're juice. We have coffee and different things like that. This one is just water, and we put a straw into it. We put it into we plug it into the same machine that we do the food, and it fills it up with water, and then we can squirt our water out like so. And so it's kind of fun. You can get these bubbles that are just floating around up here, and play with them. But they can also make a big mess. But it's really unique. You can see the water just forms a perfect sphere up here, and will float around until we drink it.
Hi, my name is Kendall Melton. My question is, how was the docking at the space station?
Yeah, it was really neat getting to dock to the space station. As we were coming in on our SpaceX Crew Dragon, which we've named Freedom, as we were approaching the ISS, it was really neat to see the ISS in the blackness of space, just nothing out there, and the ISS appeared as a super, super small gold kind of imprint on the back of the night sky. And to know that that was our destination, that was going to be our home for the next several months, to be able to kind of see it appear a little bit out of nowhere was just amazing. And then to, of course, get closer and closer to it and slowly approach and then have a successful dock was just awesome. And then to get to come onto Space Station and greet all of our friends from Crew 3 and Expedition 66 and 67. It was just an awesome memory to be able to embrace them when we arrived.
Hi, my name is Kaden Taylor, and my question is, why do astronauts train underwater?
That's a good question. We train in the water and underwater specifically to get as close as we can to simulate weightlessness, especially for long periods of time. So to practice for spacewalking, we have a gigantic swimming pool that has a full-size mock-up of the International Space Station in it, and we get in the spacesuits, and we go down there, and we'll be in those suits for 6.5 or 7 hours for each training event. And the divers that are out there assisting us help us get weighed out so that we're neutrally buoyant, so we don't float to the top and we don't sink to the bottom. And that simulates weightlessness as close as we can get on Earth, and it allows us to practice all the intricate tasks and teamwork that we have to do when we go out the door for a spacewalk.
Hi, my name is Landon Cheney, and my question to you is, how is food delivered to the space station?
We are super lucky up here that we have cargo vehicles, so spacecraft that come up and deliver supplies and hardware, science, and also food. And so the next one coming up will be SpaceX Dragon 25. That will be coming up in the next couple of weeks here, bringing lots of things, including food. So we are super grateful for that opportunity and that capability to bring us food. And in addition to kind of our standard menu of food, like the turkey that Bob was showing you earlier, sometimes these cargo vehicles also bring us treats. Sometimes they are allowed to load at the last minute some fresh foods, so some things like fruits or even ice cream that we might, hopefully, we've got our fingers crossed, that we might be able to get some on our next cargo vehicle.
Hi, my name is Ria Coco. My question is, what are the job duties you have in space?
Well, one of the really fun things about being up here is that no day is the same. We take part in so many different tasks and perform so many different science experiments that there's just so many different things to do. Some of it is maintaining the space station and fixing things. The space station is, little over 20 years old now. So just like a 20-year-old house, it has things that need taken care of and modernized and repaired. And so we do things like that. And then also upgrading things and making and installing new software and new hardware on the space station. And then, of course, at any given time, there can be 250 to 300 different experiments on board. And so we end up being the people that run those experiments, and sometimes we're taking part in those experiments ourselves as part of the human research program. So we take part in different things that look at how the human body responds to being in space for an extended period of time. So any given day, we can be a repair technician, we can be a scientist, you name it. And we touch all different forms of science out there, from materials science and developing new ways to form different materials, all the way to medical science and geology as well. So the opportunities are endless. There's just so many different things that we get to do up here.
Hi, my name is Jamal Ralston. My question is, how hard is it to move around inside the space station?
So if you were to ask us that question when we first got here, the first week or so, our answer would definitely be that it is pretty tough. But with time, just like with anything, we have definitely adapted and learned how to use all three different planes, the whole volume, and learned how to float effectively. So we use all of these handrails that you can maybe see to kind of hook our feet onto, as well as our hands, and kind of Spider-Man our way through station. So it's super fun to learn how to move in microgravity.
Hello, my name is Lenore Carter. My question is, when you're exiting the Earth's atmosphere, do you feel heat?
That's a good question. On the way uphill during launch, we don't really feel too much heat, and part of that is because our vehicle is starting out very slow and gradually accelerating as we get higher and higher. Plus, we have the vehicle around us. So in our seats, we have very good air conditioning. We're protected by our suits, and so we get to just enjoy the ride and the incredible acceleration that the rocket provides. And it was just such an amazing experience, feeling the rumble and the thrust and the acceleration as you're getting pushed back into the seat was just absolutely phenomenal. In an instant, the engines shut off, and you go from feeling 5 Gs of force on your body to instantly being weightless, and it was absolutely spectacular. We'll let you know in a couple months on our way home whether we feel the heat on the way home, but our vehicle is protected by a high-tech heat shield, so that as we're starting out at 17,500 miles an hour, and as we start interfacing with the atmosphere, it starts to heat up and produce a plasma, and that friction is what slows down the capsule before we deploy our parachutes. So that heat shield is super, super important, and we're really thankful for the folks at SpaceX that have developed it, and we'll let you know if we feel anything on the way home, but we're pretty sure that the vehicle does a great job, and we'll be as cozy as a cucumber on the way home.
Hi, my name is Kaden Taylor. My question is, what is the best thing about living in zero gravity?
I would say the best thing about living in microgravity is exactly what Bob is doing, getting to do flips with very little effort.
Hi, my name is Melania Warner. My question is, how long does it take to get in and out of your spacesuit?
That's a good question. We have 2 different spacesuits that we wear. One was our SpaceX spacesuit that we wear on the way up and on the way back down to Earth. That one takes, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes or so for us to climb into, and then once we get zipped up into it, it's a very comfortable suit that's all one piece. If we're doing a spacewalk, that takes a little bit more time. Getting into the suit itself has, we have pants that we put on first, and then we climb into the upper torso, and then we got to put the helmet on, and then part of the entire process that really takes a long time is the pre-breathing. So when we go out the door, we're breathing 100% oxygen, and the pressure is very, very low, and so there's a little, typically there's a little bit of nitrogen that our body carries around in the blood, and we need to make sure that we breathe all of that out, and so that takes a really long time. So a lot of our process before going out the doors is to manage that. So all in all, it takes a couple hours to get that whole situation suited up, and then put us in the airlock and suck the air out before we can actually open the door and go outside.
Hi, my name is Braden Harp. My question is, what do you do during your time off in space?
Yeah, we definitely enjoy the time off that we do get. One thing that we really enjoy doing together as a crew is getting together and having dinner together. So we have a table in Node 1 where we have lots of Velcro and gray tape that we can stick things onto and enjoy our meals. And so we like to crowd around the table, all 7 of us, and enjoy meals together, break bread and just laugh and have good conversation. So we definitely enjoy doing that as a crew. We also are super lucky that we have access to entertainment. We can also call our family and friends on the ground, which is super important to us to be able to stay connected to the ground while we're up here. So we have lots of different means of doing that. And then, of course, one of our favorite activities is to look out the window. Being able to look down at the Earth from this unique perspective is just, we could spend all day doing that.
Hi, my name is Angelina Perry, and I'm the Executive Director of GYAC. We want to thank NASA and our community partners for making this vision a reality for our students. Thanks for tuning in to see GYAC go out of this world.
Well, thank you so much. It was an honor and a pleasure to get to talk with all of you. You guys had some great questions, made us think a little bit, and we really appreciate the time. Good luck to all of you, and have a great summer. Goodbye from the International Space Station.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.